Okay, big topic. Big topic. It's one that we kept getting asked to do. I couldn't even bring the amount of people that have asked us to do this topic.
And thank you, because you know where the community topic is now. So great.
Yeah, thank you for finding that. This is going to be a massive one, and we want all your thoughts down below. Should CHANSIRI sell the club? Now, for a lot of people, that's an immediate yes. They've had enough.
Yeah.
Apparently the worst owner since Alan. Ooh, saying something like that. But I want to give this to Jake first, because we've got very similar opinions, and also we diverge a little bit. Jake did a really good video on this a little while ago. It's obviously developed a lot more now. Sheffield Wednesday look likely to get relegated, and the chairman has stayed silent. Go through some of your pros and cons and what you feel the general summary should be for CHANSIRI.
Yeah, so my pros are, he's already here. Yeah, it's not worked. And he's learning, though. He's learning to not have big players on big wages. So we are looking at that. He's starting to communicate with fans again, but it's not as much as we want. We need to be more work with the communication from him. Even if it's him getting a translator to help him speak to him, because English isn't his first language. Because I think sometimes we can lose certain things, what he says, and take it as gospel. I don't want to talk about too much about how much money you've spent. Obviously, running a football club, it's expensive. And
we also don't know the exact. We don't know if he's exaggerating slightly as well, because he does talk about putting like 350 million in. Yeah, I could see it, but I think it's less than that.
Yeah. Let's give him credit for what he did with the staff. He could have furloughed them. He paid them all full wages and made sure people were there. And people are going to criticise and go, where's my refund for my season ticket? It's a lot of season tickets to give your money back. And with the way we do our season tickets, it's in the cons. So I'll talk about that one. And he's trying to sort it out and try and get something. And he does genuinely care about the club, I think. I don't think he's one of the people who he just wants to see what's what. And just say, yes, he gambled in the first two seasons and it didn't pay off. And then he had to sort everything out with FFP so that other clubs could do it, and it just not worked for us. It's the typical the Wednesday way. It's very hard in the current climate of the world to be a remote owner, because that's what he's doing. If you're thinking about you're doing your work remotely, or you're teaching, you're remote in teaching, I can't see how hard that is if you're not seeing people every day face to face. If you're doing it via computer link or something like that, and the time distance, you don't know what time he's having to be at there. I don't know if he's keeping to like Western times to keep what's going on with the club, if you know what I mean. The cons, we could have a lot worse owners than we currently got now, who really don't care about the club and they just want to take us for a ride.
Stockholm syndrome bedding in right there. Yeah.
DC, like I said, DC does care about the club. We could be in another Milan trying to find an owner, and it takes a long time. And remember, he had one owner that was basically a fraud, and it nearly went to him. It was so close for him to get in the club. And that could have been a really bad decision. We could have been in a
do you remember
position.
Azerbaijan, land of fire?
We could have been in a bad position there. Media has said he's here for the long term. Yes, great, that's great, but can we hear it from him instead of media? And when I say media, I actually just mean Yorkshire Zanima. He seems to have a good relationship with Dom Howson. He got his foot in the door. He does seem to, if you see anything, it all comes from Yorkshire Zanima and the star picking up pizza, trying to get a link.
Yeah. Well, obviously that's that. Dom's been around for a while, so he gets the
special
prime
treatment
scoops now. Yeah.
Does the stadium go with Dale, even though he said it has? That could then put us in a position like Coventry, where the Dale doesn't go with the club, and then they're having to play their game wherever. I can't see Wednesday fans being very happy about playing home games at either Sheffield United, Rotherham, or Barnsley.
He has also said, though, why would I sell the club without selling the ground?
Exactly. He has said that.
Yeah.
And you could, in theory, get somebody that likes the club and likes it as a thing and do an NK Dons and move it. Because
I get that. Let's just see how many people have stayed to this point of the video after you've said that he does seem to care.
Yep.
And we could end up with worst owners. Okay, so they're the cons and the pros sort of thing and all of that. It's weird, right? Because whatever you say on CHANSIRI,
You get slated.
If you're saying negative stuff, you've got that side of the fan base that says you're just looking for anything to beat Chansiri with, and we have said that before as well when things have seemed like that.
Yeah.
And if you are negative, if you are positive about him, you are naive. And that is the word that everybody loves to use in that set. You can't see what he's doing, all of this.
And you don't watch
the same people
enough.
Also that hold Milan up on a pedestal. And we will talk about Milan more in a future podcast, right? Because there is a lot of things that I think people forget about in the Milan ownership. You've also got to remember, Milan handed this club over to Chansiri.
Yeah.
Please also look at what happened after Milan handed Portsmouth over and what Portsmouth are now, right?
Yeah.
You could also say Leicester, but Leicester have obviously been very good since. But then you also look at Sheffield Wednesday, and we are in a situation where it could have been another Milan handover success story, where in the first couple of seasons we looked Premier League bound.
Yeah, very much so.
We did. Chansiri was an owner that came in and chucked money at it, and whether
He was a little bit bold with what he said, with saying, I want us there in 2 seasons. He shouldn't have said that. He should have said, I want us in the Premiership.
But he did. He did say that, and he did want that. And you could see that by bringing in a team and chucking money at it. Yeah. And I've got to point this out and play the advocate, because that has worked for the likes of Wolves. The teams that it hasn't worked for are the likes of Derby. Right, but Derby is still getting away with it scot-free somehow, right? But you look at Sheffield Wednesday, and the reason is the wrong players were brought in at the wrong time. But at the time, we were still 2 playoff seasons, right? We were still so even though they were the wrong players for the future, for the right now, they could have just seen us up there and got us promoted.
We also had a bit of structure back then in terms of manager. We were keeping with the same old. I think it's very clear that you need that to have that sustainability.
When Chansiri came in as well, we'd obviously come off the back of a failed takeover by somebody who had a load of dodgy, alleged dodgy sort of dealings. And I think there was something that developed there as well, but I don't want to say any of that on this podcast. But we had a failed takeover that was interesting. And Chansiri came in, and at the start, I think his heart was in the perfect place for it. I think he's still trying to be that. If you've ever met the man in person as well at Owls in the Park and things like that, he's very much it's weird, right? He's very hands-on in terms of so hands-on to the point where I remember him coming around and telling the people who were selling the shirts on the discounter rates. Yeah. He was trying to organise all of them, even though they had their own management and team. So, inside scoop, yes, he is a micromanager.
Yes.
But his heart has been in the right place in times, and he reminds me of somebody who is stubborn and wants to make sure his hands on everything so it's steered in the right direction. However, he hasn't had the experience to do that, and he needed to step back, and he needed to bring the right people in. He also needed to realise when he had the wrong people in that he needed to get rid of them, because now it's got to a point of stubbornness and silence.
Yeah.
And I feel if it's going to continue in that route, maybe a sale is the best option, unless you start talking to us and you start being transparent with us. Yeah. Genuinely transparent. Do more Zoom calls. They talk about this supporters thing. We obviously applied for that, didn't hear anything. But I'm also hearing that the people who actually applied for it, even though they're on the list, they've not heard it. They've not had much develop, especially when results have turned.
I think the first one was January the 22nd, and that's been it.
I am at a point now where I still am very much wary of it could be a lot. It could be worse, and you've got to be careful what you wish for. Yeah. But it is becoming to a point of, without transparency, I am going, if you aren't going to talk to us, and we aren't going to hear more, and especially with the manager situation at the minute, if you are looking to sell the club, unless you've been advised not to and you've got a sale lined up, talk to us and tell us what the situation. Rather than going, if the fans want me out, I'm going.
But also tell us that you've got a sale lined up and that you're looking to go. I have a funny feeling his family might have turned around and said that I don't think it's doing his health any good owning us. To be fair, before we bought
it's not doing
us,
my health any good, to be honest, Sheffield Wednesday. It's not done for quite a few years.
Before we bought us, and about 2 seasons in, he wasn't smoking as much. Now he's chain smoking again, apparently.
You got her allegedly all that, because I don't know, I can't validate any of that, and I'm not that kind of podcast.
It is allegedly, but I am you can't, you got to think when he had the still got the club. He was over every other couple of months to check how things are coming. I think his last time over possibly might have been February last year.
Well, obviously there's been a global
situation.
Global situation. So that's the reason for that, you could say. But I think I would like to see. We're recording this on the Saturday of the Luton match as well, so that he might come out in the early week and talk about it. I like
something on Monday or Wednesday just to say something.
My bottom line is, if we don't start getting transparency, more regular basis, especially when the club are looking like we're heading for League One, I want to hear, what is the contingency plan?
Yep.
So the contingency plan for going to League One, and what is the current situation we are in financially? Until we are in a stable situation, you need to start talking to us a little bit more, or appoint a manager and let them do the talking. Yeah. Like, a club needs a representative. But at the minute, you've got somebody who's still a caretaker manager, so the buck stops with you, in my opinion.
Yeah.